Let's talk about morality, Christianity. Do you need some kind of moral guide to dictate your morals? Can humans have morality just by being humans? I have some clips that I got from TikTok. But yeah, here's the first one, and then we will talk about this as a Luciferian.
I would never worship a god. They would send someone to an eternal lake of fire to be burned forever for the simple fact of non-belief, when that deity knows what it would take to convince every single person on this planet. That is cruel, it is inhumane, it is not kind, it is not generous, and that is not a god worthy of worship. And I'm telling you, as I sit here in this chair, should I wake up and find myself faced with the God of the Bible, I would not change my mind. Would I say, oh yes, the God of the Bible, yes, you exist. Yes, okay, that is empirical evidence. Yes, you exist. But I would not fall before my face and worship that monster. Because even if, as an out gay Satanist, Yahweh said, you can come into heaven, I would still say no. As long as there is one person being tortured forever in hell, I would never enter into that place.
This is how it is. Majority of people who leave Christianity, majority of people who were brought into the Christian faith, Islamic faith, as children, to me, especially with the threatening of burning in hell, is child abuse, the fear of it. I do not remember my parents being like always saying stuff like that. They tried more on concentrating on heaven and Jesus. However, there was a lot of fear because I was scared of demons at a young age, and I saw demons at a young age, especially when I prayed. I would pray to Jesus, and I would feel demons coming after me. I can't remember if that was because my parents told me or if it was because I was just a spiritual child and those spirits were trying to, free me from this. But it seems as today, in this day and age, the year of Aquarius and all of the things being brought forward, truth and stuff like that, all the lies, but it's a huge thing, especially on TikTok. I see all of these debates with atheists and Christians coming out, a lot of lesbians and homosexuals debating Christians, and I'm so like in the awe of like, yes, because when these highly intelligent people, okay, you have to be very articulate, you have to know your shit. There's a guy that I watch on live. He studied the Bible his whole life, and then when he came to, the more that he studied the Bible, the more he became less a Christian, because he started to understand that there were so many contradictions and prophecies that weren't proven, and there's just a bunch of bullshit. Okay, so he's able to debate with these Christians and actually put them in the place. And when I hear these Christians speak, I'm so embarrassed for them. Like, I get embarrassed for them of how ignorant and stupid, because you can hear it in their voices of like they just sound stupid, and they know it on some level of consciousness. They know, and that's why they're debating, because they do want to be free. They just don't want to admit it. They do want to be free from this, because truly, if they really believed in this, they wouldn't even really be they would have better answers. They don't have good answers. The whole burning in hell, and then the whole I didn't even know there was things in the Bible that talks about owning slaves and stuff like that, okay? It's just absolutely ridiculous of how when knowledge is brought forward, how you have to be freed from this, and you have to understand that did not come from the all divine creator, because if this entity was pro-human and trying to help us and love us, there would no way be things about slavery and stoning your wife if she doesn't bleed after marriage consummation or after they have sex. So, but then there's still these ignorant people that just don't want to give it up because it will shatter their whole belief system. Unlike Luciferians and most people who are highly advanced spiritual people, we don't want to be ignorant. There's a difference, right? It's a difference of your soul's evolution. But I have some other clips I want you guys to take a look at, and we will talk about it.
Is it possible to sell your soul to the devil?
No. It's impossible to sell what you don't own.
So it's deception, essentially.
Right.
Satan makes you think that you're selling your soul so he can keep you more bound in whatever he has you in.
Right. In my talks, I usually have somebody sitting next to me, and I'll ask them what kind of car they drive. And then I ask the audience, who out there can legally sell me this person's car? Nobody puts their hands up. I'm like, why not? And because it doesn't belong to us. You're right. That's why you can't sell your soul. It doesn't belong to you. I mean, you may have heard God died for you. Jesus paid the ultimate price for your soul. You don't own it. You can't loan it. You can't lease it. And you certainly can't sell it. But you may have heard that the devil's a liar. I'm here to confirm. If the devil tells you good morning, get a second opinion.
That's a funny quote, and that's why you're a Christian today, because you can't actually sell your soul. And
right, what you have done is given your will to the devil.
Okay.
This guy, I've seen him a couple times, an ex-Satanist, trying to tell you can't sell your soul. It is not for sale. But do you see the contradiction in that video? Do you see the hypocrisy in that video? You cannot sell your soul, but you have. But Jesus comes to save your soul, and then your soul is Jesus's. So you can't sell your soul. But if you accept Jesus, Jesus can save your soul, and your soul is with God. So meaning your soul is not sellable, but it is savable. But then your soul belongs to Jesus and God. Holy fuck. The fuck. And it's such misinformation. Whoever this Satanist motherfucker guy is, he is not a highly spiritual person, okay? He doesn't understand. See, this is the difference between these old school Satanists. There are some Satanists that I've met that are exactly like that, and they're just fucking arrogant and ignorant and just fucking annoying. It's like, shut the fuck up, you mean. They're almost like bullies. I find that the people that become these Satanists, I'm not saying all of them, but these Satanists that need some kind of recognition, some authority. They were bullied. They become the bully. And it's like they use Satanism as a tactic to bully people. You know, I've come across many of them. Okay, many of them. Luciferians, on the other hand, are not about that. We represent balance. We want a good life for humanity. As we are living, and we are humans, okay? You cannot say that you don't want to be human, because you are fucking human. You got lots of shadow work if you don't want to be human. It's not about that, because we do know that we're more than just this flesh, okay? But I find it so funny, because this guy's getting misinformation, and this younger guy here is like, yeah. But dude, he just said you can't sell your soul, but Jesus can take your soul. Don't even know what to say when I saw that. But this is an exciting time when I see all this information on TikTok, when I see these young people debating. This is what it's about. It's about freeing the slave mind. Because once we can free the mind of religion and free this shit, we can expand our frequency as a collective. It's going to get worse. It always has to get worse before it gets better. We know that, okay? But this is communication. This is what it's about. Okay, let's go to the next video, shall we?
Those are, okay, so, but what you're saying, if you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not trying to be difficult. You're saying that those are your starting positions. Those are the things that you accept.
I'm saying they can be.
Faith.
No.
Oh, you have a rationale for them.
Yes.
Let's hear it.
You already have. Life is generally preferable to death because we're talking about our life, and death is generally not in the interest of the living. It can be an exception. This is the point that I was getting to. So you could start with those foundations. You could start with any three that you found. You could pick three arbitrary foundations. And the one aspect that makes a secular moral system distinct from religious pronouncements and divine command theory and those sorts of things is that the secular moral system has as its goal the object of getting better at getting better, which means if you find out that one of your foundations is wrong or in conflict with something else, you can now change that. You could start with death is preferable to life, and then when you find out that it's not working that well, you change that foundation. I think that these foundations, based on the evidence of how people tend to live their lives and what they care about, are a good set of three. There could be better ones that somebody come up with. I'm open to revision on any of these at any time. But to say that I'm not skeptical about them is exactly the opposite of what I am. Because skepticism is about, I'm not going to accept something as true without good reason. And it's about being open to revision should there be evidence. If you and I agree that we care about a good life isn't very well defined. And we may have different ideas about what good life is. But if we could actually just sit here and take notes, I think that we'd come across maybe a handful of things that we would agree would make for a good life. If we take those and compare them to the foundations of a secular moral system like what I'm describing, we can determine non-subjectively whether or not the list we've come up with are consistently approachable from that foundation. And we can do that for religious morality as well. The analogy that I've used in the past is, for example, a game of chess. There's nothing about the universe that requires that we care about chess or care about the rules of chess. The rules of chess are arbitrary. Somebody made them up. We changed them. We added en passant. We added castling. We did things like that. We have the rules of chess. We don't always know what the best move is. But if the goal of the game is to win, or at a minimum, not lose, then we can analyze the moves with respect to the consequences and with respect to the goal of winning and determine which moves are better and which moves are worse. That is what a secular moral system does because it allows revision, whereas religious systems don't allow for revision. There's not a Bible 3.0. There's not a Quran 2.0. There's no new revelation from God to say, hey, I said all this stuff about slavery, now I'm opposed to it. Or, hey, I was really down on homosexuals, but now I'm okay with it. Hey, when I said that here's what caused diseases, or that you were unclean and shouldn't enter the temple, all those things are actually wrong. The germ theory of disease is right. And none of that's come out.
Well, there is kind of a Bible 2.0. That was the New Testament, right?
Well,
so that
is the update for the Christians.
Yeah.
Except that it's worse than the first one.
Well, that's not exactly the point. The point is there was an update. So.
Well,
okay, so
the update, it's not like Jesus came along and said, hey, in Exodus 21, where I was saying you could have slaves and beat them, we got that wrong, or you got that wrong. That correction's never given. That thing about, in Leviticus, where we point out that women are worth 2/3 of that of a man, we got that wrong. None of that's corrected. In fact, the reason I say it got worse, although I didn't know we were going to go down the biblical route tonight, is that if you look at Jewish tradition, when you're dead, you sleep with your fathers. There's no real clear notion of an afterlife. And then with the introduction of the New Testament, what you get is infinite torture and punishment for finite crimes, which is immoral.
All right, so I don't want to go down that rabbit hole at the moment, although I'd be perfectly happy to do it. Those are, okay, so, but what you're saying.
This tickled my heart in a nice spot. Mr. Jordan Peterson, one of the most, oh gosh, he just thinks, I've never seen him in this disposition, like the way he acts and like how he's like fondling around and trying to take control of the conversation. And you see Matt just so calm and collective. That is what we are supposed to do. If you can see how Christians become very emotionally hyped when they are challenged with their belief system and it's about to break. And you see Matt here, who's been he was a Christian before. I think he was supposed to be, he's been doing this for a long time, debates, a long time. I follow him on TikTok. You can follow him on TikTok and you can watch some of his debates. Some of it's sometimes he can be a little bit of an asshole. I'm not gonna tell you. It's like, okay, Matt, calm the fuck down. You don't have to be that much of an asshole. But he's just so tired of Christians not answering the questions. What they'll do is he'll ask a question about belief and like, I don't believe, and they deter. They cannot get to, they have no answer and they keep on changing it. But watching him with Jordan Peterson, and we all know who Jordan Peterson is, goddamn, you know, he thinks he's the fucking shit, was the best shit. That tickled me in a good spot. You know, and Matt is absolutely correct. Now let's get to the morality of this. And I've had many discussions with people who have faith and think that humans cannot be good unless it comes from somewhere. And I'll tell you, I always have disagreed with this. When I was a child, I was confronted with things and I stood up for them as a child because I knew they were wrong. Why? Because I saw it hurt the other person. And because it hurt the other person, I stood up against it because I felt the pain and I did not want that for the person I cared about. And I've always been like that. Did that come from a higher place, or did that just come from me being, knowing that pain and suffering is good for evolution? It is. It reopens up things, but there's some things that we all know we don't need to go through to get to a certain height in spirituality, and especially to live in a community, in a social structure. And Matt talks about this. He talks about the foundation and like if you're in a tribe and one person's going around murdering, well, you don't want that for the others because you know it's not going to be good if everybody is murdered. Does that have to come from somewhere outside of yourself, or is it? Can you just understand that human beings are smart enough, have reason, we have logic, we have emotions, we have feelings, we love, we hate, we care, we destroy, but we destroy to rebuild, to regrow. That does not have to come from a higher source. However, we do channel energy, we do channel pain, we do channel demonic forces. But what people don't understand, and especially the misinformation, is that demonic energy is not, they are fucking scary entities. But when you face them and you have no fear, their scariness kind of pulls back and their intelligence comes forth, and you pass the test of the fear, and they allow you in. And when you're in, you can communicate and work on yourself. Then why do demons want to work with humanity? Well, that's a good question. There's many answers. You know, there's many reasons. And once again, this is subjective. It's subjective and objective, because there have been people who do report having experiences and witnessing things together. So you got 5 people that witnessed something, then clearly there's something objective out there. But anyways, the whole point is, why do demons want to work with us? Well, the dark infernal, the main gods have they have a connection to us, which is huge. And why do they have a connection to us? What is their purpose? I believe that we are connected to them, not all of us, okay, connected to them through Atlantis, through even before Atlantis, before we incarnated to Earth, into when we existed on different planets, on different realms. We are part of them. And the Earth vibration is to see, is to filter, is to purify our souls. And they agreed to do this because we are connected to them. And you can take that in any way you want of why you're connected with them. What is the purpose of humanity? To evolve, to evolve. It's always evolution, okay? That's it. They enjoy it. If they didn't enjoy it, they wouldn't be here. If they didn't get something out of it, they wouldn't be here. There's always an exchange. What is their want from here? To have influence on Earth. Have influence. Free oppression. But, yeah. So, I thought I would just touch upon that. And see what you guys all think. And make sure that you get enough information. So if you ever are faced with somebody that wants to debate, or if you got a Jehovah's Witness knocking at your door, invite them in. Invite them in and sit them down and talk to them. But, you know, have your facts so you can make them fall frazzled, just like Jordan Peterson there. Yeah. Interesting times. All right. Take it easy.